Hello guys, and welcome to another video, a very windy video. And this week's edition of the Roman Gazette is called Secret Roman Road. Of course, it's not actually a secret Roman road. Lots of people know about it. That's just the sort of sensationalist title that we use to try and get engagement on YouTube. But this particular section of Roman Road crosses private land, and there are very few points where the public can get access to it. So I thought that today we'd have a look and see what we can see as we explore our secret Roman road. This section of the road behind me is dubious in terms of access. Looking at the Ordnance Survey, them again, it's difficult to ascertain whether we actually have a right to go down there. But what I'm more interested in today lies up here. Now, I've had a bit of a crappy week, so I don't want to get too angry today with the experts and all that sort of stuff. I'm not going to do that, in fact. This is going to be gentle and calm and relaxing despite the wind. I really hope you can hear me. But here you can see the road seems to end at this junction with a later sort of peasant's road. I'm crouching down here to try and get out of the wind. It's a really difficult day for vlogging. We're going to have a look up at the point where this very obvious Roman road joins a later road, and there's something interesting to have a look at, and we're going to go head to head, but in a gentle way, because we're having a nice calm vlog this week. We're going to have a look at what I think versus what the experts think. So there's the road that we were walking up, and if we swing the camera round, we can see this later lane here that crosses there. The Roman road would have originally carried straight on, sort of between that yellow salt bin and along the edge of that plantation. Just over here at this point, seemingly on the later road, we have this between these fairly recently erected posts. It is the base of a Roman milestone, and the posts have been put there to protect it from the idiotic verge cutters, who, as you can see, recently took a great big chunk out of it. It has now been repaired, thank goodness. There's some markings on it. Over here we've got a BWB with an arrow faintly discernible there at the bottom. That stands for borough with borough, and obviously isn't Roman, it's later. And then round here we're going to have problems with shadows. But round here we've got Leck and an arrow there. Again, clearly not Roman. There's me. The milestone has for many years, since time immemorial, been at, along with the Roman road, marks a parish boundary going probably back to the sort of Anglo-Saxon period. So it's been there for a long time. Obviously it was put there by the Romans, but there is the point of debate. The experts do not acknowledge this as one of the in situ Roman milestones in the UK. In fact, there are very few. I think there's 2 or 3 that they accept are in the original place where they were first erected. But I argue that this one is absolutely still in its original position, and if we use state-of-the-art technology to project the line forward of where the Roman road would have gone, I think we can see my point is proven. There's no reason to think that it's moved. The road that cuts across and then the disappearance of the onward Roman road, fine, we accept all of that, but there's no reason to think that that Roman milestone has ever been moved from where it was originally installed in whenever it was, 74 AD. The fact that it appears going way back in parish boundaries as well says to me that that milestone has been there since the day it was put there. A short way up the lane and through the little village of Overtown, we get to this footpath through the woods, and our good friend Margary, never too sure how to pronounce that, he's an expert we like, by the way, He tells us that you can see the stones of the Roman road at Leck Beck where it crosses. So that's what we're going to have a look to now. It's difficult to say with 100% confidence, but my money is on that area there. I mean, there's stones all along the bank here, but that looks like that might be the crossing point. It's about in the right place for Margary's stones. Although, in all honesty, I'm not 100% convinced that they are the stones. The line of the road feels to me as though it's more up here, but if we go and have a look at the river, there's no obvious sign of stones. Well, there's lots of stones, but how do you tell what are the Roman ones? I guess that sort of concentration of stones beneath the ground right into the bank that we looked at there perhaps is a likely contender. But Margary was certainly very confident about it. If we assume the road fell out of use 1500 years ago, that's a lot of opportunity for this river to have changed things quite a bit. Anyhow, if you remember our acronym S.M.A.S, which I don't suppose for one moment you do, we've seen some stones possibly, and we've seen a milestone, so 2 out of 4 is not too bad. We're now going to move on to another point on this secret Roman road where there's some public footpath sort of access. Let's go and have a look. I'm actually really enjoying this. It's good to just get out into the country and do some Roman Gazette stuff. I've had a terrible week, and obviously the channel was seriously troubled last week with World War II. Now that seemed to have a bit of an impact. I've driven a little bit south to now come into another section of this secret Roman road from the south, using the very few footpaths that permit us access to it. I've walked, I guess, about 1.5 miles up from the village of Cantsfield on public footpaths. I'm not trespassing, and I've found our secret Roman road. It is here. You have to really concentrate to be able to see it. Here in person, it's quite obvious, but how that's going to translate on the camera, I don't know. Now, fortunately, we've got the technology to be able to show you that there it is. Actually, it is very clear to me. Across that field, the field boundary is following it. It looks quite raised down there at the bottom. But we put that technology on there so you can see it. And we have our first agger of the day. A lovely agger. So that's nice to see. I can see the camera is blowing all over the place in this gale. But heading up the other way, I can't even see it with my naked eye. It's not going to show on the camera, but it is running straight up there. There's another footpath over here. Ooh. I'm now holding the camera to stop that from happening again. Now, I wondered why there was a rainbow, and guess what? Now it is raining. Anyhow, I've crossed the field, and again, it is going to be difficult to convey this on the camera, but I can certainly find the Roman road at the other side of the field, in fact, crossing the field. Let me see if I can let you take a look to it. So I'm standing on the line, it's contouring across that hill. The lower tree that you can see there is where we were previously, and it comes down here, and then here I'm actually standing on an earthwork, which I think is probably the remains of an abutment. I'll scroll that along there. There's a real splay there actually. It's actually very clear because it had to cross Cant Beck here, and then you can see some more agger surviving up there. I left Margary in the car, but it doesn't matter because I've read it so many times. I know it inside out. He rather distressingly refers to the fact that when he was writing in the 50s, there was reports that some of this had been bulldozed. At this point, I'll put up some sort of what's it to show you where we are and to illustrate how we're using the public footpaths to access these sections of the Roman road that we're looking at. And then I'll also pan north. So we'll go into the exclusion zone where the public can't get to, where the Roman road becomes much more distinct with some very significant and impressive sections of agger. But unfortunately, as I've mentioned, we're not allowed. And now it is raining as well as the gale force wind. Well, thank heavens for the barn is all I can say. What was meant to be a nice relaxing walk on a stolen Friday afternoon with a bit of vlogging, not so relaxing. Anyway, it's turned into a nightmare with this wind and now the rain, so I'm sheltering in this barn. But I've enjoyed it. I have enjoyed it. These little stretches of the Roman road that we've seen today, well, I've seen, I'm not so sure you will have been able to make out very much, have been on my list for ages, so it's been really good to see them. The barn is actually on the Roman road. I've actually come off the footpath a little bit to be able to shelter in here, but that out there is the line of the road. It's been good to get back onto the Roman Gazette despite all the obstacles, and I hope you've enjoyed it. There'll be more content obviously next week from our increasingly varied smorgasbord of content. I think the ending's going to be fine because we seem to have cracked that on the coastal catalogue, so there's no reason why the same won't apply for the Roman Gazette. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.